on YouTube as well. So just search for Smooth 981 and you can catch the live stream. Good morning, Rotus.
Hey, good morning, Zibby. Good morning to all our listeners, YouTube viewers out there. Good to be with you all for what is today? Is today Wednesday? Yeah, for Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. Rotus, we lost track of time. You haven't had much sleep, have
yes, you? Yes, there's too much going on.
Oh, wow. Okay. Rotus, let's start with the stock exchange. Massive drop yesterday. What happened?
Yeah, I think we saw profit taking on the exchange yesterday. The market had been, blowing real hot, stocks just climbing everywhere. And I think what happened is investors said, you know what, let's book some profits, let's take some money off the table, let's sell some of these stocks that have been doing so well, and let's put some money in our pockets. So I think that's what we saw yesterday. That tends to happen when you've got a market that is red hot for a period of time. There will be some dips here and there.
Oh, wow. All right. So what is the difference between profit taking and bargain hunting, though?
Yeah, so profit taking will happen when your market is pretty hot and stocks are taking off. So you literally, if I bought a stock at, you bought a stock at 10 naira and it rockets all the way up to like 30 naira. So you made a heavy profits on that stock, right? So you will sell the stock at 30 and pretty much collect your profits. If I do that and Zibby does that and everybody else does that, then the price of those stocks are going to fall from heavy selling. Bargain hunting usually happens when the market is down and stocks are falling, so they're cheaper. I mean, not just on a price level, you're going to use a number of other metrics to review them. But basically, bargain hunting is like, okay, stocks are falling. They look cheap. It's like going on a shopping sale where discounts are being offered for shoes or clothes, and you go hunting for a bargain. So you go hunting for low priced items that you can buy. So that bargain hunting usually happen when stocks are falling and that they're at low levels. There's something called the 52-week high and the 52-week low. That's just looking at the highest level the stock has reached over the past 52 weeks to over the past year. And so that's essentially the difference. So profit taking, stocks have done well, I'm going to sell them and take my profits. Bargain hunting, stocks are falling. That means there's some deals out there. I'm going to pick up some cheap stocks. So there are two sides of a coin.
Wow. All right. So how's the market done so far this year? And are the sectors to watch that we've discussed in the past still the same sectors to keep an eye on?
Yeah, certainly. The market is still up 18%. So it's still up, double digits so far this year. And if we see more reforms over the next 6 months to close out the year, then it's likely that the markets will stay up. But we got to see who the cabinet appointees are, who is leading what portfolios and what ministries, and then what possible reforms we can still see to prop up the stocks. The sectors, yeah. I mean, even with the market falling yesterday, you still saw some. I think Eterna PLC, a downstream stock, was still doing well. So downstream oil and gas, banks, those are still sectors to watch as far as the market is concerned.
All right. Now, let's move on to Borno State. Now, in Borno State, the governor basically has offered free transportation for farmers. Now, maybe it's some sort of palliative, but why transport for farmers?
Yeah, well, basically, transportation eats up a lot of costs, or it's vital to farmers because it's part of their input costs, then being able to get to their farms and then moving the items that they harvest from the farms to the markets so that the food gets to you and I. So transportation and food make up a heavy part of spending for a lot of people, and so we don't really have much diverse diversification of transportation. Everything pretty much moves by road, not much by rail or any other form. So I think by targeting transportation on the part of the Borno government, and then targeting farmers as well who produce food. The government is essentially trying to alleviate cost pressures for the farmers, which they hope will translate to lowering food prices in that area. Borno has had a number of issues, terrorist attacks and all these other things, high levels of poverty and so on and so forth. So it's a state that's pretty challenged. So any kind of reprieve the government can provide will be welcomed.
So is there any potential hiccup really with palliatives?
Yeah, so the thing is, it's how long you keep them going and the expense, because what do you call it, a palliative or an intervention, you're transferring one subsidy for another, right? So I understand they got a number of buses and it's providing either drastically reduced transportation costs or in some cases free. So the government is paying to fuel those buses that is going to be taking those farmers to their farms, or significantly paying for the transportation costs for the farmers. So fuel prices are what they are. So that means the government is taking on that cost. And if you don't have an off-ramp, if you don't have a plan for when they will end, you could be paying those things in perpetuity, for a really, really long time. And so that's going to weigh on the government's balance sheets, right? So, you just have to have a plan for when. So they started this thing today, this month now for July. Are they going to stop doing it in December, or are they going to stop doing it after 3 months, or are they just going to keep doing it? And so the palliatives, you have to have a plan for when to take them off. If not, you're going to have a burden. And I don't know what Borno's plans are to raise revenues. When you're doing all these things, you've got to have a plan to make more money for the government itself. Lots of states are too dependent on the federal government for FAC allocations and so on. So the danger is just that it continues forever and it never ends. And all of a sudden you now have this huge expense on your books.
All right. Well, let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. I've got a message from Gerard, and he says, hello, Rotus. Rotus, you have been renamed. Okay, it's Rotus, by the way. He says, where can I find a listing for the Nigerian stocks with respect to the sectors in the online world or the internet? A website or web address would be great.
Oh yeah, let's go to the NGX. The NGX is the exchange, all the data on stocks. You can even sign up and get a daily email from the NGX, that's the stock exchange itself. They'll send you all the prices, send you all the sectors. The NGX website is pretty good. So just, in fact, let me go to the website right now. You just Google NGX, ngxgroup.com, ngxgroup.com, and it'll take you straight to the market website, and all the information is there.
All right. Let's go on to some more messages. Ogene Ochuko says, this development on the consequences of portfolio investment, it is not actually a confidence economic booster when compared to foreign direct investments. Best palliative for farmers is to provide them with farming inputs.
Good points there. I like that. That makes sense.
Yinka says, Rotus, any form of palliative is subsidy, and for that it's a no-no. It's an avenue for stealing. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's why I said you've got to know when to stop. So that's a good point from Yinka there.
Is it weird that his song just popped in my head? Kenny Rogers, the gambler. Let's talk about inflation. Now, the Chief Investment Officer of Access Pensions and Analysts at Bank of America have forecasted a 30% inflation for Nigeria. What's the takeaway? Yeah,
so I mean, the thing is the short-term impact of fuel subsidy removal, the exchange rate liberalization. I mean, that those two twin-headed dragons, meaning in the short term, you're going to see spikes in costs of goods and services. And so that's why they're both seeing 30% inflation to close out the year. And what that means is that, disposable income for Nigerians is going to be squeezed. Things will get, we obviously get more expensive. I think we're going to see what happens with the Monetary Policy Committee at the CBN when they meet. They might still hike rates further because the benchmark rate right now is at 18.5%. If they keep hiking rates, that means borrowing costs are going to go higher. And the cycle just continues, Zibby. So it's a matter of things getting more expensive and people just having to tighten their belts. That's essentially the takeaway as far as inflation impact is concerned.
So how can inflation shocks be eased in Nigeria, though?
Yeah, I mean, we've got shocks, infrastructure issues. I mentioned roads earlier. You've got your legacy issues, right? Power filters. We got, how many people are metered? So these are the things that are in place that continue to, to impact inflation. And there's also all the intervention activity of the CBN, pumping money into the system that's, is not being matched by productivity. So we've got to get more productive because inflation is also, fueled by too much money chasing too few goods. And then you also got supply side, you got supply shocks, like your lack of power, infrastructure that is not, that's decaying. So you've got to address all these issues in order to bring cost of production down. So challenging times ahead, but we just got to tighten up, Zibby. Got to tighten up.
Oh, wow. Okay, Gilbert says, on the free reduced transportation costs for farmers in Borno, this is commendable, but more importantly, we need to investigate the master plan to prevent a reoccurrence.
Agreed.
All right. Well, that is all the time that we have for Business Express this morning. Thanks for your messages. Thank you for listening. And Rotus, thanks for coming through and having a brilliant day ahead as well.
All right, you too. See you guys tomorrow.
There is a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.
Yes.